was like really fast.
Steve, I can imagine your house. You're real anal. There's nothing out of place. You walk in.
Oh no, yeah. Nothing in the entire neighborhood.
Yeah,
because of him.
And he's got garbage.
I clean up the neighborhood.
Yeah,
good for you.
Yeah, he does.
Yep.
He does a good job.
Somebody's got to look after Rock over there.
Hey, Steve, before we get into the Yotes, the Hockey Hall of Fame class was revealed, and led by Hendrik Lundqvist, who is unbelievable, of course. But I'm looking at some of these names, Mike Vernon, Ken Hitchcock, some of these other guys, and kind of just looking at some of the guys moving forward down the road. And is Jeremy Roenick or Keith Tkachuk, former Yotes, and, of course, Shane Doan later down the road when he's eligible, are they worthy? Are they kind of guys that could squeak in?
This is the time of year this argument comes up, and I firmly believe that Keith Tkachuk has put up the numbers to get there. When you look at the people and you pull up the list of all-time goal scorers in the National Hockey League, everyone around him is in the Hall of Fame. Keith Tkachuk should be in the Hall of Fame. Jeremy Roenick, it's called the Hall of Fame. He was the most famous American hockey player through most of the 90s.
Yeah.
Why is so those two, in my mind, absolutely should be there. And here's what bothers me about the list. Every year, people say, well, they didn't win. Well, it's an individual award on that individual player. To win in the National Hockey League, you need a team. And I think it's so unfair to rule out players and their entire career because they didn't win a Stanley Cup. So, yes, I hope someday we see Tkachuk and Roenick in the Hall of Fame.
Is it because both of them never won a Stanley Cup or a major NHL award?
It is. It clearly is. And you look up through the annals of American hockey history, these two guys are on the Mount Rushmore of American hockey. I mean, Patrick Kane's out there. Jack Eichel is starting to pave the way. But these guys are there. They're some of the original guys that laid the foundation for where these guys are today. So I absolutely believe they have done their due diligence and done the work in the National Hockey League to deserve those accolades. I really, really do. And, you look like a guy like Mike Vernon. I know Mike Vernon won a Stanley Cup, but his numbers aren't supportive to be Hall of Fame worthy. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not on the committee. I didn't get a vote. They'd be in my Hall of Fame.
Okay. Let's get to the Yotes. They've been on the receiving end of countless cap dump trades over the years, and I'm trying to kind of understand this industry better when you look at the dead money deals with a bunch of players like Oliver Ekman-Larsson or Shea Weber and these guys in those long-term, what they call it, the LTIRs, the long-term injury reserve. Yeah, and can you just dumb it down for me at least? I know maybe there are plenty of people who understand, but when you see these names of players that they put on their cap and they get hit for it, and they never even put on a uniform, I just don't understand why.
Right now,
good.
It's frustrating, and it's part of what the Coyotes are playing within the rules. And right now they have three players, and three pretty big-name players, in Brian Little, Shea Weber, and Jacob Voracek, are all on their what they call their dead cap list.
Okay.
That means these guys are done. They're never going to play ever again because of injuries, and they have their contracts are massive, and they go out forever. So they're not going to retire. They're just hurt. And they're never going to play again until those contracts expire. Well, the teams that hold on to those contracts, like the Montreal Canadiens had Shea Weber's contract, they don't want to have to pay a cap hit of $7.8 million. Now, insurance pays most of the real money. So it's not money coming out of your bank account. Most of the money is paid by insurance because they're hurt. It just applies to your cap. Now, the Arizona Coyotes, they're not worried about spending to the cap. The NHL has a cap ceiling and a cap floor. And it's not like baseball where you pay a tax if you go over the cap. It's a hard cap. You cannot spend more than $81, $82 million, period. But you also have to meet the cap floor. Well, the Coyotes don't want to spend a lot of money on a team that's not ready to win, in a building that doesn't bring in revenue, in a city that doesn't have large corporate sponsorships. So they're okay to spend monopoly money, which is cap money, which isn't real money, to have these guys on their contract to reach the floor, but they don't have to spend money out of their bank account, real cash, real green dollars, to have those players eating up their cap space. So that's why it's dead cap money. The Coyotes will just get to the floor this year. And we're talking those three players alone are over $20 million applied to the cap.
God.
$20 million applied to the cap. So think of the players you could buy for $20 million. And that's why most teams that are competing for the playoffs or the cup, they want actual guys that play in that $20 million. Not guys that are retired and have never been to the city of Arizona other than on a road trip.
Sure.
So I think that once they get to the point where there is a new arena and when they start winning and they're through the rebuild, you won't see any more of these kind of deals. And to be honest, I think we've seen the last of these big dead cap deals for the Coyotes. I think these three guys are it.
And all that being said, I'm reading that the projected cap may be close to $30 million, Steve, that they'll have to go ahead and make some small trades or something along those lines.
Is it like $24 million? Is it lower than that?
What is it's just under that right now.
Okay. So with all that being said, so will we see some trades? Also, we got guys that are going to develop. Obviously, the kids that were
3 minutes,
26. All that being said, are they going to be in the mode to at least make some trades to get some enhancement from this team?
No. That's the exciting answer. The reality is you're seeing this right now, that their cap with that space around $30 million available is because they haven't signed a lot of their players yet. And they won't do that with their RFAs and UFAs, restricted free agents and unrestricted free agents, until next week after the draft. And so you're seeing up front in the forwards, they only have 5 defensemen and 6 forwards signed to contracts right now. So they have a lot of work to do, and that's where a lot of that cap is going to go. And I've read online, and fans are like, well, let's get this guy or that guy, or this guy's available for trade. Don't look for that. It's not going to happen this year. This isn't the year where the Coyotes are trying to push forward and trying to make the playoffs and trying to be competitive. It's not happening yet. This isn't the year. It's going to be more of
2 minutes.
Try to get younger prospects. You saw they just bought out Cassian and Nemeth. Those are older players that had no value in the future. You might see them get and acquire younger players that they feel can grow with this team, but they're not going to push the needle immediately in 23-24.
So what will be the mantra for the 6th pick and the 12th pick as well, too? The 6th and the 12th this year?
Yeah, we just had Bob McKenzie on our show today, and Bob McKenzie is one of the premier hockey analysts in Canada, and he said at 6 and 12, this is an incredibly deep draft. Some scouts are saying as deep as 60 players are high-quality players. The Coyotes have 2 picks in the top 12. They are going to have 2 very, very good players. Unfortunately, they won't have Connor Bedard, who is Connor McDavid. He is Wayne Gretzky, and they missed out on him by getting 6th. So they're going to get 2 good players. I'm excited
1 minute.
they pick because when you go through this list, the one thing for people to watch at the draft is a Russian player named Matvei Michkov. He is the wild card to this whole draft. Some say he is comparable to Connor Bedard, but people haven't seen live views of him in 2 years because scouts can't get to Russia. He didn't play much during the COVID year, and people just don't know him and are fearful that they won't be able to get him out of Russia. He is probably the 2nd or 3rd best player in the draft, and he may drop 15, 18, 20. So he could either go early and push guys into the Coyotes, or he could get to the Coyotes at 6 and 12. So he's the wild card that people need to watch for at the draft, is Matvei Michkov.
He's Steve Peters. You can get more of him at GoPHNX Sports, as well as on Twitter at SPetersHockey. Thank you for the perspective, buddy. Appreciate it, man. And, I saw some, I was walking Guinness yesterday, and a couple of weeds starting to pop up in that front yard of yours, man. I'm
looking at him right now.
Yeah, I don't want to make a call, all right? Take care of that.
By the way, Rock, do you know where I'll be next week? Do you know where the draft is next week?
Yes, I am.
You know what city it's in?
Yeah, it's in Nash Vegas. Yeah.
Buddy.
Yes.
It's in Nash Vegas. I will be there Monday through Friday. I'll be there for 5 days.
We're gonna call you, okay? Just to give us a live shot from Broadway. All right. I want a live shot from Kid Rock.
10 a.m. Monday. Yeah,
I
can't wait. I'll take pictures. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, buddy. That's